Hey, how are you? How's everybody doing? So I'm Austin Smith. I'm the founder and president of Today I Will Achieve. It's a mental health organization that helps people by inspiring each other through different stories and things like that. Anyways, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about motivation. Um, so the things we know about motivation is you can have it at certain points and you can lose it at certain points. Duh. So growing up, I was very involved in sports, and I'm trying to think of motivating people. They were the ones who would encourage, who would uplift, who would show you how to do certain things. So a lot of times we focus on the people who basically take away the motivation from us, people who put us down and um, don't really believe in us. But I'm here to talk about a certain person in my life. So I was very small. I still am pretty small. In high school, 5'7", 140 pounds soaking wet, and my older brothers were all football players. And so I remember freshman year daily doubles. This coach, he said, "Hey," he's like, What position do you want to play?" And I'm like, "I want to play running back and I want to play linebacker." We're a smaller school, so we had to play both ways. And he's like, "Okay, let's do it." Any other coach would have said, "No, you're way too small to play both those positions. Maybe try wide receiver or kick returner or something like that." And he mentored me, he coached me, he taught me a lot of things. In fact, I became so involved in the game and in the planning that even though I was a weak side linebacker, he had me call the plays just because I was able to read certain things because of his mentorship. And so this individual obviously was very motivating for me because up to that point in my life, no one had really believed in me or thought that, hey, I could be this certain athlete or things like that. So as far as traits, what he had was he believed in me. So we'll start with that. So this is kind of comes from an outer source of motivation. So I had the motivation. I was excited to play football, but it could have easily been taken away if he was like, "Nah, you're not a running back. You're not a linebacker." But that belief in me, in turn, gave me the motivation I needed to become better than I believed that I would have ever become. To be great. Now, I wouldn't say that I was a great football player, but I would say that I was better because of him. And now I want to talk a little bit about self-motivation. So self-motivation, that's a tricky subject. For some people, it could be, I want to prove people wrong. And so the prove method would be prove them wrong. Sorry for my chicken scratch. Now, these type of people, they're told their whole lives that they can't, that they lack something, or they're too slow, they're too overweight, they're too skinny, they're not educated enough, they can't sing, just certain things like that. And it lights a fire in them that says, "Hey, no matter what, I'm gonna prove so and so wrong, and I'm gonna show them how I do that." Now, that can get discouraging if, say, you're going and you fail. Trust me, that's happened to me many times. You're wanting to prove that certain coach wrong, or that teacher wrong, or that trainer wrong, whatever it might be. And the hard part is when you fail. So you go out to prove these people wrong, and all of a sudden you fail. Things just come crashing down. You can sense that kind of that beat down, that self beat down, because you know, okay, these people don't believe in me, and now I just failed, so maybe they're right, but they're not. And so that's how our mind can play tricks on us. So if we look, instead of comparing ourselves to that moment, hey, we just failed, let's look back at where we came from. So here's point A, and here's point B. Point A, they tell you, hey, you're not good enough. So you're kind of beaten up, you're down here. You try something out and you fail. Okay, shoot, now I'm down here. But if you look at your your drive has caused you probably to practice harder, to work a little harder. So regardless of if you fail, so you may think you're here, but in actuality, you're above where you were. And so rather than beat yourself up, if you just look at where you're at now, it'll help you to stay motivated. And you look at examples. So many people throughout time were put down, were told that they weren't great. I mean, Walt Disney, Michael Jordan, just all these people, Steve Jobs, Thomas Edison, they were all told basically, hey, you're not good enough. And in some cases, you'll never do anything great. I'm guessing you are like me and that you've been told that more times than you can count. It's normal. And so we look at these examples of other people. So that's how we build ourselves up. How we get ourselves back on the motivation train, I'm just going to write M train, is we look to other people. I'm just going to write look to others. Again, my handwriting's not the best. We look to others for these examples. So we know the common story, Michael Jordan. He goes out to try for varsity, and he doesn't make the varsity team. He's put on JV. He went through a growth spurt, so he was kind of tall. I want to say he was about 5'10", and the coach just wasn't having it. So rather than him just choosing to go down, he lights that fire. Oh, sorry, I was gonna draw fire, but it's just and then here's some wood. He lights that fire and says, okay, so he doesn't think I'm great, but I know I'm great. So he had that belief in him that even when he got knocked down, he chose to look up. I'm not sure if he looked at somebody else's example. I mean, I know he battled his big brother, and I think that was a big driving force. He wanted to be better than his big brother. I know that's what it was for me, and still is to this day. I'm the youngest of 4 boys. And you look at what he's done, and he continues to go up in basketball, in business, you name it, he has just gone up. They told him that a scoring champion couldn't win an NBA championship. He won 6. If you look at his statistics, he dominated throughout the 90s. This is factual. And so what motivated him was that prove people wrong. Prove them wrong. It just lit the fire in him, and that's what he chose to do. Now, if you're like me, I don't really do well with the prove them wrong. Self-esteem wise, I've always been a little bit lower on the scale. And so for me, it became more personal. I want to be better than I was. So mine, I would say, better than I was. So how did I get this mindset? It's a lot like track and field. Track and field, you may think you're racing against all the other racers, but in fact, you're racing yourself. You're racing your time, or how far you can throw, and things like that. And when you meet those certain plateaus and you break them, it creates more confidence in yourself. So for me, people can say, hey, Austin, you suck, man. I look at that and I'm able to ignore it. I don't use it necessarily as fuel. I just kind of block it out and I don't give them that power. Growing up, like I said, I was very small, and weightlifting was a huge way for me to gain that confidence. And I believe confidence is what creates motivation. So up here, I had confidence in my coach. Prove them wrong. They have I would say they have the highest amount of confidence because they're like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to prove them wrong. You can't deny that Michael Jordan didn't have incredible confidence. He would stay up way past midnight and beat Magic Johnson at a board game just so he could win, and then get like 1 or 2 hours of sleep, and then smoke them all in practice. This is when he was in the Olympics, on the Olympic team for basketball. This is confidence that somebody else had given him. That has given me. This is confidence that it's just like supreme confidence. You're just kind of born with it. And then this one is, okay, I don't have much confidence in, in myself yet, but I'm just going to keep working until I get to where I want to be. So when people say, you suck, man, for me, it means something totally different than for someone in this stage. And, you know, I was still told this many times when all I had was the belief from my coach. And so I saw this firsthand. If anyone's ever been in the weight room or has done anything, or maybe it could be speech or reading, you can see how, like, if you just work at something, you'll become better. So growing up, my first time in the weight room, I was just super weak, okay? Like, I benched maybe 95 pounds. This was my freshman year. And so by the end of that year, I put up like 140. Still not very much weight, but for a little guy like me, I was just so confident because I saw in myself me just go up and up and up and up. And yeah, eventually by my senior year, I was able to bench 250 pounds. And how I did that, I didn't just go. There were times when I was like, okay, I don't know if I can get any stronger. I'm hurting, I'm sore, you know, I just failed the other day. But the thing that weightlifting taught me is confidence. Because not only could I see my strength going up, but you could see it in your physical body. You can see how your body changes as you get stronger. And I believe my confidence and ability to motivate myself came from the weight room. I wasn't always an avid reader. But as I read more and more books, I just realized that, oh my gosh, there's immense knowledge and power in this. And so my motivation is just to rise. I want to be better than I was. And so ultimately, that's the goal. You want to stay motivated so you can rise. Now, it's not perfect. It's not easy. I've been in all these states where I was just like, okay, no, I'm done. I need to take a break. I've quit on a couple things, I'm not gonna lie. But the key to motivation I've found in my lifetime has been to just be better than I was. For some of you, proving people wrong would be a great motivation. This, I would say, is more like proving myself wrong. But here's what I believe are the main key ingredients to be motivated. It may start with someone else's belief in you. It may start with the haters. It may start with yourself being a hater. But ultimately, one of these three things will lead to you having confidence. And honestly, confidence is motivation. So if I leave one last thing with you, it would be to not give up, to look for little victories. Don't compare yourself to, if you're a basketball player, don't compare yourself to Michael Jordan. Compare yourself to where you were 2 years ago. If you are an intellectual, don't compare yourself to Albert Einstein.